Hey, how about an emergency video? Huge breaking news today is that Tony Stewart and Gene Haas are shutting down Stewart-Haas Racing at the end of the year. We will be talking about that in just a few minutes, but I also want to touch on another kind of NASCAR related, also related to the Indy 500 story that I just think is just ridiculous. And it's that I guess there's talk that Kyle Larson won't be granted a playoff waiver for participating in the Indianapolis 500. Why? Why are we talking about this? Um, Look, Kyle Larson made a reasonable effort to make it to Charlotte. He was at the racetrack. He was in the car. NASCAR just shut down the race before Kyle could actually get out on the racetrack. To penalize him for prioritizing the Indianapolis 500 when he's already the NASCAR points leader, already checked every box except for specifically drive out onto the racetrack in a race in which he had not yet participated in, though was on the grounds and in the car ready to go, would be one of the biggest fumbles in NASCAR history. Frankly, playoff eligibility hasn't mattered at all ever. And I get it. A lot of them are injury related, but they gave one to Chase Elliott for getting hurt in a non-racing incident. I think they gave one for a suspension. Kyle Busch won the championship after missing half of the year or more than that. I mean, it was crazy. And I get it. It was an injury, but in any other year prior to 2004, Kyle Busch would have never been in the championship conversation. It would have been, well, sorry you got hurt, but the rules are the rules. The rules are thrown out the window in NASCAR. It doesn't matter. Kyle Larson's one of the biggest drivers in NASCAR, and the idea that you could disqualify him from your championship format because he decided to go race in a race that was a little more important than the Coke 600, sorry to say that, but it's true, is insanity to me. So I just wanted to get that rant out of the way because I feel like I need to say it because I think Kyle Larson, if Kyle Larson isn't allowed to run for the championship because he ran the Indianapolis 500, he ought to just come on home, come on IndyCar, run the whole season. That's not the first time I'm going to tell someone to come on home today. But in a much more serious note, Stewart-Haas Racing announced that at the end of the season, at the end of the NASCAR season, they are shutting down operations. This is something that I think I and a lot of other people saw coming a long way away, maybe further ahead than a lot of other people did. But it's not any less sad that it has actually happened. So let's take a look. The statement that was put out as I'm recording this about 20 minutes ago on Twitter. And this is the joint statement from Tony Stewart and Gene Haas, the co-owners of Stewart-Haas Racing. We have made the difficult decision to close Stewart-Haas Racing at the conclusion of the 2024 season. It is a decision that has not come easily, nor was it made quickly. Racing is a labor-intensive, humbling sport. It requires unwavering commitment and vast resources, with a 365-day mindset to be better than everyone else. It's a part of what makes success so rewarding. But the commitment needed to extract maximum performance while providing sustainability is incredibly demanding, and we've reached a point in our respective personnel and business lives where it is time to pass the torch. We are proud of all the wins and championships we've earned since joining together in 2009, but even more special is the culture we've built and the friendships we've formed as we've committed to a common cause, winning races and collecting trophies. That is the same commitment we made to our personnel, our partners, and our fans coming into this year, and that commitment will remain through the season finale at Phoenix. We have a tremendous respect and appreciation for all of our employees, and we will work diligently to assist them during this transition to find new opportunities beyond the 2024 race season. So I can't say I'm surprised. I cannot say I'm surprised. You guys, a lot of you have been here for a long time and know that all of the Tony Stewart drama that happened over the last couple of years. When Tony said, I found something better to do with my weekends, and what he was talking about was drag racing. And now fast forward to 2024, and Tony Stewart is a full-time Top Fuel drag racer. He wasn't interested anymore. Gene Haas, making significantly more money, having more fun, and more glamour, being a Formula One team owner than he ever has had in NASCAR. Couple that with Kevin Harvick leaving and taking a lot of sponsorship with him, or at least having that sponsorship dispersed to other teams, this was never going to work. There's a lot of questions now, of course, in NASCAR. What is going to happen with these 4 charters? Is this going to, this flooding of the market of 4 charters going to completely dissolve any kind of value that the charters had in the first place? I think it will. This is potentially the canary in the coal mine on the charters. We're going to see what happens when you get a total market flood on those, what the price actually ends up being. 4 charters hitting the market. Who can and who wants to buy those? Are there enough? Is there enough of a market to buy them? And then on top of that, is there enough of a market to actually sustain a bidding war to move the prices up? I don't know, man. And it's so weird too, because I just mentioned Kyle Larson earlier in this video. One of the big things that pissed Tony Stewart off, and I mentioned it at the time, I think Tony Stewart lost interest in NASCAR the minute that Ford told him he couldn't hire Kyle Larson way back at the end of 2020. Rick Hendrick said, yeah, we're doing that. And then a championship came, race wins came, and now Kyle Larson and Rick Hendrick are doing the Indy 500 and attempting to win that. These are all things, by the way, that I think Tony Stewart would have loved an opportunity to try to do with Kyle Larson. And Ford, his manufacturer, told him no. And then, of course, we know now that Stewart-Haas Racing pretty quickly fell down the Ford food chain to, I would honestly put them behind Front Row Motorsports in terms of the priority list at Ford. So they weren't getting any support. There was a time when they looked at Dodge. I remember that. That didn't happen. All of these things led to this, where now the NASCAR Cup Series is going to look extremely different in the next few years. And you know what the other thing is too about the charters? Thinking about NASCAR's leverage with the charters, right? If all of a sudden the teams have just, with Tony and Gene selling all of theirs at the same time, giving up theirs, I guess, technically, what does that say for the team's leverage with NASCAR? Because all of a sudden, as they're trying to negotiate this new charter deal, you're going to see what was originally the perceived value of the charters perhaps go down significantly, because there just aren't enough teams that are willing to bid on those charters to get them. I think that is something that is probably going to be glossed over a little bit, but I think it's very, very important. I'm curious what Tony Stewart's next plans are. I mean, obviously he has a very significant stake in the NHRA right now with his wife, Leah Pruitt. The two of them are racing hard. Well, of course, Leah is out of the seat right now. They're trying to start a family, but Tony has taken over that car, and Tony is racing at the top level of drag racing. So maybe he has too much on his plate right now. I know as well the funny car with Matt Hagan. Big commitment from Tony Stewart on the world of drag racing. Come on home, Tony. Buy into AJ Foyt Racing. Come on, you know you want to do it. 41 car, Stewart Foyt Racing, however you want to call it. Hey, maybe do the double, or maybe don't do maybe do the double as in like the Indy 500 and then like the Chicago drag race. Sound good? Come on, Tony. Come on home. It's time. Come on back to open wheel. We want you. Come on, Tony. Come on. I guess technically he is still in open wheel racing because a Top Fuel dragster is ostensibly an open wheel car. So that's fun, isn't it? But Stewart-Haas Racing is an interesting case because really the Haas team prior to Tony buying in 2009 was pretty much nowhere. And when Tony got there, he raised it to a championship team right off of the bat. They obviously won the title in 2011 and 2014, and the Daytona 500 with Kurt Busch. So many big wins. The Brickyard with Ryan Newman comes to mind. A lot of wins, a lot of championships, and they were competitive really up until the last couple of years. And it wasn't that long ago that those 4 Stewart-Haas cars completely dominated Talladega in a way we haven't seen in years and years and years and years. Kevin Harvick leaving, I think, was definitely the death blow. I think any interest Tony had in the team at that point was gone. Gene, I think, typically is more of a money guy. And when the sponsorship all dried up because Kevin left, made it very, very difficult. what does this do to the driver market as well? You've got Josh Berry on the market. You've got Noah Gragson on the market. It's Ryan Preece on the market. All these drivers who got opportunities through Stewart-Haas Racing are now kind of out in the cold. So it's odd days in NASCAR right now, and it's something again that I feel like if you were on this channel, you're maybe not as surprised by it because again, unless you were really coping hard, it was hard to not see that Tony Stewart had lost the fire for NASCAR. I think it was the Kyle Larson thing, the fumbling of Kyle Larson personally, and the fact that Ford stopped giving them factory support, and then finally Kevin Harvick leaving was the end of the line. But be curious to know what you guys think in the comments section below. Wasn't expecting to upload 2 videos today. Certainly wasn't expecting to talk a little NASCAR, but you never know what's going to come down the pipe here on this channel. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't tuned in a little while, if you're one of those NASCAR people, I'm going to be covering the Detroit IndyCar and IMSA race this weekend. So I hope you check out that coverage. And if not, watch it on USA Network. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and I'll see you in the next video.